Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 6 of CultureClubX, powered by CultureMonkey. I'm your host, Darcy Mehta. CultureMonkey is an AI-powered employee engagement platform that helps organizations listen to their employees and build stronger workplace cultures. CultureClubX is our global thought leadership forum where CHROs and people leaders come together to share insights, explore trends, and exchange practical strategies for building future-ready organizations. Today, we are delighted to host Rosaria Bonifacio, VP and People Head at Nokia, a seasoned HR leader known for driving transformation across complex global organizations. Rosaria, it's welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Well, it's great to be part of your network.
Yes, definitely. So, Rosaria brings extensive experience leading large scale transformation initiatives across workforce strategy, organizational design, leadership effectiveness, and post acquisition integration. She works closely with executive teams to align people, culture, and business priorities in times of change. She also brings valuable board level experience contributing to governance discussions, leadership capability building, and long term organizational sustainability. Her perspective bridges execution with boardroom expectations, especially in periods of uncertainty. Rosaria, your experience in building resilient leadership systems and navigating complex transformations makes you the ideal voice for today's conversation. And we're excited to explore our topic: unlock change ready leaders, essential norms, metrics, and actions to drive impact in 2026. Before we dive in, could you share a bit about your own leadership journey?
Yes. Well, I think that what I like to say about me, and sorry for my voice, I am a citizen of the world, international world. And I have been living the last 18 years across the globe. First moved to Sweden, then moved to Finland, then Germany, and working across US and China and India. So my journey has been, I think, really a lot about transformation, reorganization, and driving with diverse cultures. That is something that I enjoy the most. Bringing people together, being able to design an organization, and then support the leaders, the teams, in making sure to implement this new organization. So yes, change has been and is my bread and butter.
That's amazing. I love that term, citizen of the world. And I consider myself one too, and just, would love to keep living in so many other places and traveling. So, and you gain such a perspective, not just from traveling, but from living in other countries for sure. So, thank you so much for sharing that. And we will just dive right into our first question. So, how do you spot change fatigue early in your leadership team?
Well, I would love to spot it even earlier, if I would, I can say. I think that change is complex, and you can spot people that is, fatigue into the team. Sometimes when they take decision too fast, and when things are not well thought through, and then, they go too much into operationalizing instead of having thought through strategically topics. That could be a sign of fatigue. A second thing could be when you start observing that people is not contributing, has low level of energy, is silent, is accepting passively whatever is decided. And for a team, it's never healthy. It's never good. So having some kind of controversy or people that thinks differently, it's healthy for whatever change or whatever kind of transformation we need to drive.
Absolutely. It's dangerous when someone's just quiet and they stop engaging, right? So, such a good point. So, how do you help leaders balance empathy with execution in turbulent times?
Yeah, there are few basic steps, and acknowledge what we need to do.
Mhm.
Acknowledge the complexity of things, talking openly with the team, with the people. At the same time, trying to look at things in an objective way, and that's the most difficult things. Keeping emotion away. Emotion are important. As far as you are aware that you have emotion in a certain kind of situation, but then when you need to take the decision, you need to try to keep emotion away in order to make a very good and sound decision. Another tips that I have seen applying and maybe could be useful, even create small step of check-in so that the team and the leaders can, look at the progress and then move on. It's important to make sure that the team can feel supported and the leaders can feel supported.
Absolutely. So true. So, what cultural norms reinforce leader confidence in ambiguous environments?
Well, confidence, you mean in the way of what makes change more robust in this way? I think having the vision of where we need to go, it's always, and having the big picture always reinforce the confidence of the leaders and the team when we need to change. Having in front of us the trajectory is absolutely something that can support us. Say that the second step, and it's important, I said that before in the first question, making sure that we can disagree, giving to the teams the space to express their own opinion and that they have been heard, show that what is said can be reused as well in shaping the change. This is are some of the few tips that can reinforce the confidence into the leaders and the confidence of the team as well.
Absolutely. So, having a clear trajectory, first of all, is really important. Knowing where you're headed, so everything can fall into line with that, and then people that disagree, taking that into consideration and using that to make the change. Absolutely. So, how do you measure leadership effectiveness in uncertain environments beyond traditional metrics? And how do you see AI reshaping this approach?
First of all, not talking about KPI, because of course our organization are full of KPIs. So the quality of decision, how robust is the decision?
Mm.
How it has been thought through. Is it a valid and solid decision that has been taken? The communication, the way it is communicated as well, because the more it's clearer, the more then it's something that has been thought through. Therefore, those are important ingredients. AI is changing the quality of the decision and is changing all of these because it can give us immediate outputs and it's faster And therefore, what the leaders needs to do needs to verify, make sure that the output of those decisions are valid, are solid, and that they're unbiased as well. So I think that the leaders that are required in this moment are leaders that have a very good level of agility in understanding the information, um, understanding what the information contains in order to make sure that what is get reused, it's solid and robust.
Absolutely. And I've heard the word, agility has come up in some of my other interviews too in this. So I mean, that's definitely the key thing. You have to be agile because in the world of AI, it does change so quickly. And like you said, the output is very quick, but you have to be able to, measure the effectiveness, make sure it's unbiased and everything. So, what is one non negotiable action CHROs must take to build change ready leaders in 2026?
Well, first of all, I think engagement of those leaders, understanding the direction that needs to be taken, it's absolutely essential for those to bring them the leader on board. And at the same time, create an organization and create an environment where people can learn. And in such a context, it's fundamental to have these kind of characteristics. There is another kind of characteristic where CHRO can do a lot. I mean, the leaders in this period needs to work as mentors, as coaches of their teams, more than controller freak. Therefore, it's important that people can develop the individuals and can guide them in using this new technology. We are all learning. Of course, some people that is faster than others, but it's important to support the people in creating an environment where learning is possible.
Definitely. And I like that comparison of being more of a coach, rather than just, the boss type of thing because it is changing so quickly. Leaders and managers are learning as well. And then like you said, it's creating that safe space where it's okay to ask questions, to learn, to grow, and you're doing it together too. And it keeps that interest alive. It keeps people from feeling they're being left behind or think, oh, everyone else knows it, but if you're all learning and growing together.
I would like to add
So
one thing here, and there is a third element that it's trust. Leaders need to install trust so that the people, can follow them. That is another element in change that is essential, is the one element that is essential.
right, if there's not trust, how can you follow them and learn alongside them? So that's definitely so important. So HBR highlights the mental health impact of rapid change. What support systems have you built to protect leaders' well-being while sustaining performance?
Well, that's a very tough question, I think. We speak a lot about create a safe environment. But if there is one thing that I personally believe that creates a safe environment is the possibility to give feedback, to express your point of view, your contribution without judgment and in an unbiased way. It's very simple. You don't need a scientist. You don't need a genius in order to do that. If you create an environment where leaders can express themselves, can they feel considered, valued, they can contribute, automatically you have people that is able to drive their teams and is able to set the trajectory in order to have a change. But they need to be part of it. They need to contribute. Because if
Hmm.
then it's very difficult to drive whatever change. And this is common sense. You don't need any scientific book in order to
Hmm.
learn those, I think, very practical tips.
I couldn't agree more. It's funny that it is such common sense, but how many organizations, may not have that environment. So it bears repeating for sure. And, it leads me to think what we all want is to be understood, and that's in personal relationships and of course in work too and in leadership. So, it's seems so common sense, but that is the number one thing. I completely agree. It's just being understood, feeling seen, feeling heard, and then you're set up to do better and you want to do better and learn and keep growing. So, what role should AI powered HR tools such as CultureMonkey play in helping leaders track real-time sentiment, navigate uncertainty and build resilience while maintaining trust and transparency?
Yeah, this is a very, you know, discussed topic in many organizations. Should we use those
Mhm.
kind of tools or not? I think that they need to be seen not like police tools, but they
Mhm.
need to be seen like tools. They give hints, sentiment to understand the situation of the people. And in order to inform the decision that are taken um, on the strategy, on the people, on the teams, on the organization. But it's important that it's understood and communicated how those tools are used. It's a matter really of transparent communication. Even if we show the output of those tools and we share them transparently, or at least the key information with the employees, then, I mean, people then will trust the tools and the usage of those tools. So I think, again, it's a matter of giving trust and utilizing those kind of new ways of looking at the sentiment of the employees in an healthy
Mhm.
way. It's what you do with
Mhm.
information.
Mhm. Yes, definitely. Absolutely. And it goes back to trust again, too, right? Like you said. So, Rosaria, that's the end of my questions. But is there any topic or tips or anything else you wanted to share that we didn't discuss today?
Well, um, a few weeks ago, I was at a conference and we were talking about change. And I was with the group of operational excellence leaders. Um, and they spoke about how to change with humanity in a way. And what they
Mhm.
say, this is exactly what we have forgotten. We are looking so much into the processes that we have forgotten the human part of the change. And I
Mhm.
think the same with artificial intelligence. There is no artificial intelligence without empathy. So the two
Mhm.
things, emotional intelligence, artificial intelligence, need to be coupled. You can have, you should not have just one or the other.
Mhm. Absolutely. That's so interesting. I would love to have attended that conference too. It sounds so interesting and fascinating to get to talk to other leaders about this too. And it's emotional intelligence. You need that coupled with artificial intelligence. So this has been so enjoyable. I could keep talking to you all day, but Rosaria, thank you so much for your time and for sharing such thoughtful, experience driven insights and your perspective on building change ready leaders through clarity, resilience, and strong leadership systems is both practical and highly relevant for today's organizations. It's clear that in times of uncertainty, leadership effectiveness is no longer just about outcomes. It's about how leaders enable stability, trust, and direction for their teams. That's where Culture Monkey plays a key role. through real time listening and pulse surveys that help organizations understand sentiment, detect early signals, and enable leaders to respond with clarity and confidence. And before we conclude, Rosaria, how can our listeners connect with you and continue this conversation?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I am absolutely available to connect with all the people that wants to share, have guidance, and continue this conversation. So,
Sounds good. I definitely will be connecting with you as well. And it's always wonderful to meet someone who says they're a citizen of the world. I know you're a like minded person. So, and to all our listeners, thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe. That's a wrap for this episode of Culture Club X, powered by Culture Monkey. Until next time, I'm your host, Darcy, signing off.